What has Greg said about the Chiefs?
We'll talk about that right now.
Oh, boy.
What's up, everybody? We are here for the Say What You Like Sports Podcast. We got a little recapping to do. We missed you guys all on the AFC and NFC Championship games. I was a little bit under the weather as well. But we want to recap those games for everybody out there. I think we're going to start with the AFC because I think we're going to want to spend a little time on the NFC. But, man, the Chiefs overtake the Titans 35-24. I mean, Eric, what do you got to say for the Titans, man?
You know, they were just kind of undermanned in this fight. I mean, you're a wild card team, and you've done amazing things. You went in New England, toppled the Patriots. You did something no one thought you were going to do, which is going to Baltimore and beat, Lamar Jackson, shock presumptive MVP, stuffing them, kind of just really putting them away with ease. So, you can see that maybe the Titans thought they were like the team of destiny. It's our time. And they came out 10-0 lead. But if this game taught you anything, it's that, man, Patrick Mahomes is just a different level quarterback at this point in his career.
Right. I think it's safe to say he's the best player in the NFL.
Yes.
I think this game, what really trips me out about this game is everything went the Tennessee Titans' way. They came out to a 10-0 lead.
Yes.
And Derrick Henry, you think, oh, okay, this is it. This is all they needed. At 10-point lead, now you feed Derrick Henry. Nobody's going to stop him. Nobody's been able to stop him since December, late in the regular season.
He's averaged like 140, 160 yards per game.
It just all was getting geared towards a Tennessee Titans win, but yet Patrick Mahomes, man, that's when he scored, 21 straight points on them?
Yes, like they were down.
At the end of the first quarter, I think he scored a touchdown, and then
the end of the half. Because remember, they were down, I think they were down 14-17, I believe, going into the end of the half, if memory serves. And I think that's when they had the ball. And
Chiefs had 21 points at the end of the half.
So they were 14, and then that's when the Titans got the ball, and Vrabel told his offensive coordinator, we have to end this half with the ball still.
Right.
And, I think they got scared. And when you're keying in on a running game, I just felt like that's what they did. And when they punted it back to Kansas City, it was over. And the play that will just kind of tell you they broke the Titans was that scramble for the touchdown. Because they were driving down the field. Then you kind of sit there and say, okay, we can at least, the time's running, we can hold them to a field goal. 17-17 is different than 21-17.
Oh, yeah.
But for him to kind of and he didn't look like he had any speed. He kind of rushed. Maybe he's getting a few yards. Nobody hit him. He kind of bounced, rolled back in, and he's a 30-yard runner. It felt like he didn't get touched through the defense.
Right.
And you felt right there that they had no answer for them anymore. No. And the fact that they could not put a Texan-sized lead, 24-0, where they can really unleash. And in the second half, it just felt like their running game was predictable. The Chiefs aren't a great running defense. I think they're 29th in the league. But, when you know where it's coming and you can stop, the key to stopping Derrick Henry is to get there before it starts,
Right, because once he gets some steam, he's going to steamroll you,
The best way to stop a runaway freight train is to not let it get started in the first place.
Exactly.
And they were able to do that, to key in there and do that. And when you do that and you're forcing Ryan Tannehill to beat you, then you're kind of just in the waiting arms of Frank Clark and you're trying to throw in a Honey Badgers area. It was just, you could tell the third quarter that this game was over, unfortunately. And it was a good game. I think that you see how dangerous Kansas City can be when they're running, and they're aggressive. And that's different from Andy Reid teams of the past who kind of had trouble when the game was close. They threw on third down when it was a chance.
But look at the team that Andy Reid has now, as opposed to what he had, say, when he was coaching those Philadelphia Eagles teams to the NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
You had Donovan McNabb and Freddie Mitchell?
Yeah.
On some of those ones, come on. Now you got Watkins. Watkins had 114 yards, 7 receptions, a touchdown. Look at all. You got Hardeman. You got weapons everywhere. You got Kelsey at tight end, Patrick Mahomes quarterbacking your team. He's got weapons. Why not be aggressive now?
Yeah, that's true. It feels like when they get on a roll, they're almost impossible to beat. And when you look at the fact, though, the one thing that does kind of cause for concern is their rushing attack. Patrick Mahomes was the leading rusher.
Yeah.
You know, So you want to be a little more balanced. But like I said, when you can line up and throw like that and you have those kind of weapons, and
He gets protection.
and even when he doesn't, like,
Yeah.
he just can roll out
Yeah.
left, right, scramble, and he throws for 13, 14. I mean, it's amazing. I know people, he kind of, for this whole season, has been like side seat or second chair to, Lamar Jackson. But, man, I
Wasn't
think,
his kneecap on backwards for a few weeks?
yes.
Right. That's
So,
why.
I just look at it like, when he's healthy, he's the best.
Yeah, but no GM in their right mind is going to take, I think, Lamar Jackson over a healthy Patrick Mahomes.
No.
There's no way.
No. And to close the caption, like the Titans, that was a great season. They've got a lot of things. They're going to figure out what they need to do. But at the end of the day, I mean, Kansas City has the ability to do this for the foreseeable future.
They do. Right, because a big question that was asked was, could Andy Reid retire if they win the Super Bowl? And my first thought was, why would he want to?
Yeah.
When you have a young quarterback like Mahomes, all these weapons that are pretty much signed they're on for at least next year.
Exactly.
Why not come back?
Yeah.
Win or lose.
And here's another thing. Imagine how much more you can add because you don't have to pay Mahomes yet.
Right.
Mahomes,
Yeah.
this is Mahomes' third year? You get at least another year or two of paying him at a very, before you have to break the bank for the guy.
Right.
So why not stay for a couple years? Go add talent on defense. Make short-term big money contracts to round out your defense and go from there. And I mean, I wouldn't think he's going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah. So let's turn let's turn the page to the NFC Championship game. And to me, man, this was no game at all. Last week, you would have heard me say I don't think this was any matchup. I had very little faith in the Green Bay Packers. They proved me right. 49ers defeat the Packers 37-20. But let's face it, that game wasn't even that close.
No. They just ran it. It's like getting punched in the face until someone tells you stop.
Right.
It's like, in boxing, like getting hit with the jab. You want them to change it up. Well, you got to force them. You got to put pressure on them. And they never could. I mean, the series started with the Niners going 3 and out, and then you thought maybe Green Bay had something. And in that first drive, you knew the Green Bay that was here was the same Green Bay in Week 12.
Right.
And the analysts that came out and were talking about, this is a different Green Bay, and they have to more short passes, get the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands quicker, and you realize that's just not what he does.
No.
That's like asking a fish to fly.
From week 12?
Yeah.
Week 12 till the NFC Championship game, nothing's changed. Aaron Rodgers hasn't, went under any major transformation offensively or anything like that.
You can't teach an old dog new tricks.
You can't. And on top of that, it's not like he gained more weapons or anything. There was
changed.
no reason for me to believe that this was going to be any different than the first time they played.
And LaFleur hasn't struck me as a coach that knows how to make adjustments like that. He's a rookie coach. So, I mean, you're going against the guy that taught you in Kyle Shanahan. And just the complexity of the running game. What Kansas City is a big play passing with, flashes of the run. This is a big time running game. This is running schemes that average 5-6 yards a carry for guys like Raheem Mostert.
And they keep they keep the linebackers, I think, guessing because they hit you. They run in a variety of different ways out of a variety of different formations. That's what I noticed right away. It's not the same I formation, in between the center and the guard. They don't do that.
No. I mean, and it's interesting because when you look at what they did, it's not like they dominated. In fact, they had less time of possession. The Packers won time of possession 31 minutes and 13 seconds to 28 minutes.
Yeah.
So for a team to still run for, once I was pulling up, for 285 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, that means that they're running at a high clip because they're not getting 2 yards a carry, 3 yards a carry. They're getting like 8, 9 yards a carry. And I mean, you knew when the Niners got that first scoring drive, it was 3rd and 8. 3rd and 8.
Yeah.
And they run a trap draw for a touchdown.
It's over.
You knew, they took their will. I mean, Aikman said it best. They took their manhood in that game.
Yeah, there's something to be said when another man moves the man in front of them out of the spot and you see the running back just go for 8, 12 yards a play. And that's what I was watching.
Yeah. And then maybe he gets you once or twice.
Right.
Okay. But they got them
All
every
game long.
single game. And then you have that Aaron Rodgers / Cam Newton moment where the ball kind of didn't get there and he just kind of looked at the ball getting recovered by DeForest Buckner. He wanted none of that.
Right.
And what the Niners did was just show on every level of the field.
Shades of Cam Newton.
Yes, it was.
It really was.
He didn't even pretend to go at the ball. He didn't even at least fake it. Like we know you're not going to do, but at least run up to the center and
act like you're going to try to get there.
Yeah, he's just there. Hey, the ball's over there, and then the interception with 2 minutes left, and they went down the field and scored. And at the end of the half, and it's 27-0. And yeah, he got some touchdowns. He got a couple token touchdowns at the end, but whenever they needed to handle it, they did. And really quickly, Garoppolo, who was 6 of 8 for 77 yards. People really, crap on that. Understood when Green Bay did cut the lead, and I think they're only up by 13. They told him go throw the ball. He threw 2 passes. He got 30 yards. All right, we're back to running because whenever he needs to, he can do it. But their ability to just be so versatile, to have guys like Deebo Samuel and Emmanuel Sanders who can line up at running back, run jet sweeps, motions. The key to their running game is to make you think long enough for them to get in position to just hit you with the big play.
The thing is that all 11 players, well, I shouldn't say all 11 because you have the running back, but all 10 other players besides the runner block.
Yes.
Honestly, you see the wide receivers block. You see the tight ends block. Let's be honest. In 2020, that's not what you see out of the other 30, 31. No. And you don't see that.
No.
Receivers aren't asked to block. Tight ends, a lot of tight ends aren't asked to block. No. Very few in this day and age.
Yeah.
And they do that. And I think that's why you're running. Look, honestly, dude, I'm kind of old school with it. And I do believe scheme, plays a factor. Coaching, personnel, everything plays a factor. But the key is everybody
the will to do it.
The will to do it, right? And the receivers have bought in, the tight ends have bought in, the linemen have bought in. How Jimmy Garoppolo will throw a block, if he has to, right? Yes. On a reverse, and they've all bought in. They play as a team, and that's why I think the 49ers are in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean you're right because you look at those plays. If the wide receivers don't make some of those plays, if the tight end doesn't, if Kittle doesn't, those plays don't go for what they get because that allows the guards to take on more blocks when they get up there.
Right.
But at the end of the day, Green Bay, like you said, we talk about Green Bay. They kind of just fell into 13-3. They fell into the number 2 seed because you had a team like the Saints who lost the game more than they should have. You had them kind of they lucked into it. They were able to beat a kind of battered and broken Seahawks team.
Right.
That 2 weeks ago prior, went through the last game of the season against the Niners. They're banged up there. And then they go into Philly and they have to take, Philly, even though they lose, they take their pound of flesh from Seattle. So Green Bay comes in, they get a lead, and then they hold on for dear life. And nothing in those games made you think, oh, they've turned the corner.
Once New Orleans lost to Minnesota, I honestly really thought, this is San Francisco's Super Bowl appearance to lose.
Yes.
Green Bay, I thought never had a shot, and they didn't. I thought Seattle, even though they were busted up, that they could give you guys at least a run
it's
for
a division
your money.
Rival with a very
you
dynamic
never know.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'd favor them. I'm just saying I could see it, but I couldn't see the Vikings upsetting you. No. I couldn't see Green Bay beating you.
No,
I could only pick. I probably would have picked New Orleans to win, maybe.
Yeah,
and I would only say the Seahawks had a chance.
Yeah.
Outside of that.
I mean, the Seahawks are always because I feared the Seahawks more than the Saints only because they're a division rival and they have Russell Wilson. And I've seen him do it to us time and time before. So it's but at the end of the day, I look at it like this. When you placed Green Bay and you had Minnesota, that was the schedule built for you. And I think they earned that by beating New Orleans in New Orleans, by beating Green Bay in this regular season, by beating Seattle. So they earned that right to have that schedule. And right now, Kyle Shanahan has 2 weeks to prepare for a defense that's opportunistic, but I don't think their defense is any better than Green Bay's, as far as skill position.
Yeah.
Maybe their wills are different, but when you look at talent, their talent, you have a guy like Frank Clark and the Honey Badger, but that's really...
I agree with you on a talent level alone. Yes. It's no different than Green Bay. If they are any better, not much.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But what I'll say is Green Bay's soft as fuck.
Yes.
That's the difference. I think Kansas City, say what you will, maybe they're not the most talented defense in the league. Maybe they haven't been the most consistent defense over the course of the season as, say, San Francisco. Yeah. But look, I mean, there's not a more physical back in this league than Henry. and
Alabama.
they took it to them. That offensive line is nothing to sneeze at in Tennessee, and they took it to them.
Yes.
So, when they're playing right and they're determined, and I don't think there's any greater motivation than a Super Bowl championship.
Yeah.
You never know, man. I mean, they can play.
I think we'll talk about that more next week when we do it. But I think you're right. I mean, I look at what Kansas City can do and what they're able to do to the Titans and just completely nullify what they wanted. And then you look at the Niners and you look at what they did to Green Bay, and Green Bay just didn't have an answer. Green Bay is a very interesting team because it's like they probably are going to win that division again. They're probably favored.
I don't know.
I don't trust the Trubisky.
Minnesota, I think
they were like a game, right?
Yeah, and you never know. All it takes is a bad play somewhere. And
yeah, I wonder if Kirk Cousins came off that hump. Finally,
right.
He has
and
that
he
thing.
might be gaining a little confidence, knowing, hey, I got a playoff win under my belt.
He went into not just a playoff, he went into New Orleans and beat New
Orleans. I mean,
That's
come on,
nothing to sneeze at. The playoffs have been. I mean, the conference championship games weren't that great, but the divisional round was pretty fun. I mean, you had great games across the board, and being able to watch these playoffs is fun. We got one more left.
Super Bowl.
That's right.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that one too. So. Next up, we'll hit you guys on the Red and Blue Rivalry podcast. We'll talk a little bit more about your San Francisco 49ers, man.
Yep.